Thorncliffe Park resident Khalil Al-Drubi says in the summer, his 21st floor apartment feels like a sauna, so hot sometimes that he and his kids sleep on the balcony.
Even for me, I say, oh, I don't care even I'm going to get sore throat in the morning, but let me sleep, because it's hard to sleep.
Al-Drubi's apartment can reach highs of nearly 30 degrees, 4 degrees hotter than what's considered safe by doctors and researchers. Many Torontonians have a similar experience. Only 6% of apartment buildings have AC. That's according to a 2018 city report. Advocates say a maximum indoor temperature standard of 26 degrees is an important tool in keeping residents safe from extreme heat.
It can be particularly dangerous for seniors, for young children, for people taking certain medications, for people with mobility issues, who are socially isolated. It's a health issue, and it's also disproportionately impacting some people in our city, and in particular renters in our city.
In June 2023, City Council voted in favor of exploring the feasibility of a maximum temperature standard bylaw. Then last December, it endorsed the idea, asking for a staff report with recommendations on how to implement it, a way to ensure that no residential unit becomes dangerously hot. It's similar to what Toronto already has for residents in the winter and those who moved into a unit with AC already installed by their landlord. With extreme heat days expected to increase in the city, some say a maximum indoor temperature is an important tool.
And until we see that, it's going to be hard to make the broad level change to protect people from extreme heat waves.
Creating the standard means all landlords would have to make sure residents have AC. Supporters say it's no different from any other safety measure.
You know, landlords have to provide sprinklers, smoke detectors, things like that. It's starting to get hot enough now that we need to have rules in place to protect people from heat.
I think they just need to make the decision and then just enforce it.
In a statement, a city spokesperson says addressing excessive indoor temperatures is a complex issue that must consider housing affordability, ongoing decarbonization initiatives, public health practices, and the perspectives of tenants and property owners. Like other residents, Al-Drubi says he hopes change comes quickly.
Let's think positively, say I hope they will do something, but we wish.
Recommended next steps to implement a maximum indoor temperature standard and cooling rooms are expected to be outlined later this year. Brittany Billette, CBC News, Toronto.
Ethan Tantrum has lived by this American elm tree for his entire life.
It's so big, and then everyone always stops by to look at it because of the size.
His father recently saw that the tree was no longer sprouting leaves. They flew a drone to capture just how diseased it was. The city says it's been dying for about a year now, and next week it will be cut down.
I'm just really sad, and then I hope we could grow some new trees out of the seeds.
Eric Davies and a group of students are inspecting the tree before it's being torn down.
That's a good find.
Yeah, it is, and that's probably a seed.
The team will return next week to collect its seeds and some cuttings so they can preserve the elm's genetics. Davies will then grow new elm trees with that DNA through the city's tree seed diversity program.
This tree here is one of the nicest remaining elms in Toronto, probably has a high quality gene stock to it.
This elm is a native tree in Toronto, which helps local wildlife thrive. It's the reason why the city needs to protect its genetics, but it's also considered a pillar of this community.
Oh, we're gonna go that way?
The amount of people that have stopped by and said they've lived in this neighborhood for 60 years, or kids have seen it since they've grown, it has a huge cultural impact. And with fewer and fewer large trees in the city of Toronto, each one is very important.
The City of Toronto says removing the tree will prevent it from becoming a hazard, as dead branches are more prone to breakage. This comes after years of monitoring it and even surviving Dutch elm disease.
We've lost pretty much every large elm in the city, and so the fact that this one is still here really speaks to its resilience, its vigor, so we want to try to preserve those genetics as much as we can.
The city will distribute the seeds to one of the nurseries in the GTA. Once they've grown large enough, in about 5 to 7 years, the trees will be planted in one of Toronto's parks and ravines, and hopefully last as long as their predecessor. Michelle Song, CBC News, Toronto.
Nothing drives me crazier as a bike share user than when I need a bike and stations are empty, or when I have a bike and I can't find a dock.
You know what really grinds my gears?
Pulling a full-on Peter Griffin, I took this screenshot one night, 10 stations in my area, all full, sending me on a half-hour journey just to dock it. I posted about it on social and got many responses. So, Raphael, why was it that you decided to cancel your bike share membership?
When actually it was time for me to use the service, there were no bikes available for me ever.
Not ideal, and bike share knows it.
We add another bike station, we get more riders. Yeah. We are a victim of, the success of the program.
We went to the command center to learn how they're trying to balance the bikes. Is this like a 24/7 operation of redistribution?
Redistribution's 24/7, right? Right? Yeah. I gotta check, but yes.
So they do work around the clock, carting bikes in those white vans with AI predictive software, analyzing historical intel and real-time data.
Reds are full station, blue are empty stations.
And green are
green are well balanced.
Well, you got to get a truck over to this area.
So the truck is already there.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's like none up there either.
Yeah. So at this time, no, because the travel time is a bit too much. So usually we cover those areas during the nighttime, so it's faster and more efficient to do so.
They know that typically by 8 a.m., almost 90% of their bikes are in use, normally heading from the outskirts of the downtown to the core. So while we're all sleeping, or should be, they're moving bikes from the core back to the docks further out. It would have been kind of the outskirts of the downtown. So it was almost like what I dealt with that evening was a victim of your success.
Yeah, these are the challenges we face with such an increased demand and the growth that we have is we can't keep up with the infrastructure build.
In the past 5 years, they've gone from about 550 stations and 5,400 bikes to more than 900 stations and 9,300 bikes. And still, the mission is to get more, densifying the downtown while reaching into underserved parts of the city. I pulled up the app and looked in Scarborough, and there was not a dock or a station anywhere in any of the neighborhoods where we were trying to get to.
When this program initially started, it was focused on the downtown core, and one of our objectives over the last 3 years is to be in all 25 wards. We will be in all 25 by the end of the year.
In 2024, we saw 45 million rides, which was a record for City Bike.
New York City Bike program also carts bikes around with vans 24/7. They've also taken their e-bike fleet from 20% 3 years ago to around 40% now.
So we found that deploying more e-bikes in the system has helped riders get to places they wouldn't otherwise maybe go, like up a hill. That causes a lot of our balancing issues. And so if people just have a little bit more of a boost, a little pedal assist, they're more likely to go to neighborhoods that otherwise they'd say, you know what, I'll take a bike down the hill, but I'm not going back up.
Right, okay, that's interesting. I hadn't contemplated how hills might impact the distribution of bikes.
It's a major impact.
They also use what's called the Bike Angels program, so riders can return bikes to specific stations to receive points determined by demand.
We're allocating points to encourage people to move bikes around to help other riders out.
And it's basically like a video game at that point.
It's a really fun game. That is what gets a lot of people into it.
First launched in 2016, now 50,000 riders in New York are using it, earning points that can be redeemed for free credits, gift cards, and bragging rights. I love the leaderboard idea. That's so funny.
Everyone loves a competition. Like, who doesn't like to win sometimes?
Here's a bit of breaking news, Toronto.
It will be in our roadmap in the next 3 to 5 years.
BikeShare still has some back-end integration work to do on it, but a version of Bike Angels is coming here to the city, just another way to try to improve BikeShare.
Let's go, Argos!
Mayor Olivia Chow was joined by Argos GM Mike Pinball Clemens to raise the team flag at City Hall this morning ahead of tomorrow's home opener.
Let's raise this flag with pride for the team, for the fans, for a city that stands behind its Argonauts.
The GM says it's good to be back.
Opening day is so refreshing. The off season seems so long. It's like and then all of a sudden it's here.
The team held a walkthrough at BMO Field today before the big game tomorrow. Many of the players were sporting some new hardware. Earlier this week, all returning players and staff received their championship rings from last season's Grey Cup. Linebacker Wynton McManus was eager to show it off.
The top removes from it. You can kind of take this off, and it has a vision of BC Place where we played the Grey Cup on the inside the stadium.
Also engraved inside, one of the team's slogans from last year.
An underdog is a hungry dog that's ready to eat.
The first 10,000 fans to arrive at BMO Field for the home opener tomorrow will receive a replica of this ring and take part in another special moment commemorating the championship. Before the game, the Argos will have a ceremony to unveil their 2024 Grey Cup Championship banner.
It's special for the fans, it's special for the city.
McManus is just hoping they can find a good spot for the new championship banner, which is the 19th for the Argos.
They have to make some room.
The Argos will host the Calgary Stampeders in their home opener tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock. Greg Rawls, CBC News, Toronto.